Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Juice Baseball channel. And welcome back to another episode of the Indianapolis Bolts Relocation franchise here on MLB The Show 24. In the last episode, as you can see on your screen, it did not go as planned. We made it all the way back to the World Series for the second straight year. We even had to go through Game 7 against the Dodgers to get to the World Series. We had all that fighting against the Dodgers just to get to the World Series. And what do we do in the World Series? We get absolutely embarrassed by the Twins. And we lose. 4-1. It's unfortunate. But now we've got the offseason in today's episode. It is the year 4 offseason. We've got to do something to make my head feel better, because I talked about in that episode, that playoff episode, I don't trust a single person on this staff anymore. I certainly don't trust Paul Skeens. I don't trust Shane Bieber. I don't trust Freddie Peralta. I kind of trust Hunter Green, which is the craziest thing I could have ever said in my entire life, but he's the one who had the best postseason. Hunter Brown I kind of trust a little bit, but that's not really that much. I don't like any of these pitchers anymore. I mean, they all sucked. And then don't even get me started on the hitting. We had one of the greatest NLCS runs I've ever seen in my life, and then we go to the World Series and we completely forget how to play baseball. So everybody but Adley Rutschman forgot how to play baseball in the World Series. So I don't know what happened. I mean, we put up 3 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, or 5 runs, 3 runs, 1 run. I don't know what our pitching staff's doing. I don't know what our hitting is doing, but it's not doing the good things. So we will move on. If you're curious about anything that happened in the awards or anything like that, go and check out the last video. You can see all that stuff. There's a little sneak peek right there. So let's go to the offseason. Let's figure some things out. We need to get a new farm director. He has his contract has expired. We also have one retired player, Alfredo Rosado, but that's not a big deal. He's not a big player. No Hall of Fame inductees. That's okay. We've got Rutschman, Batista, and Steven Kwan all in exclusive free agency. But let's get our farm director figured out here. So we need a new farm director. We're going to pick maybe Jose Fernandez. +2 clutch. It could be Juan Mendez. He's also a lot younger. Maybe there's somebody better. +3 durability, +3 clutch for Vance Wilson's not that bad at all. I might go for Vance Wilson. Let's offer him a contract, 4 years, $5 million. He should accept that. Okay, perfect. So we're obviously not going to rebrand the team, and I don't think I'm going to change the unis, because we have the home that's the pinstripe and the black that's the pinstripe. So I think we're good on that. Yeah, I think we're fine with the unis. We're not going to change them. The last thing we need to do is exclusive free agency. So we have $68 million in available budget. Now, obviously, these guys are going to get kind of expensive, including Adley Rutschman. So he wants a long-term extension, which I'm not opposed to giving him a long-term extension. I could give him like a 7-year contract. And I would be considering maybe 38 mil. Maybe a 38 milli contract over 7 seasons. I wouldn't hate that. It's very expensive. That leaves us with $30 million, obviously. It's very expensive. But it's Adley Rutschman, and he had the greatest World Series run I've ever seen. Now, Felix Batista, on the other hand, we could tender his qualifying offer, which is $22 million, or we could maybe get it a little bit cheaper. Maybe on he wants a long-term extension. Maybe we get him on a $3.5 million deal. That's a lot cheaper than 1 year for $22 million. So, and that's a lot easier of a tradable contract. And then Steven Kwan is also 22.1, but I know we can get him a little bit cheaper. He'd like a 3-year extension. Maybe we give him 13 or 14 mil per year. That's a tradable contract as well. We might even trade that. All right, so we get these 3 guys back. We start our off-season run. We got Vance Wilson, so we have our farm director figured out. Today's the last day to tender qualifying offers. We didn't have any actual qualifying offers yet, and it looks like Steven Kwan has already accepted his deal, so that's now a tradable contract we can move on from. Bring him back to trade him. We've only got one more year of Kyle Tucker. Freddie Peralta's expensive. Shane Bieber's expensive in the last year of his deal. There could be some moves here in what could be the final year. We could toss Shane Bieber to a different team and maybe pull in maybe a Shane McClanahan type of player. This player's in the first year of his contract. Okay, so we can't get Shane McClanahan, but it wouldn't be fun anyway. We already have him on the Padres. Who else is a pitcher that is on the same quality? Sandy Alcantara's 32. He had a pretty good year. I don't know if he has a good year this year. Spencer Strider, we also have him on the Padres. There's just not a lot of pitchers that are amazing, are there? I mean, we could go all in for Shohei. We'd also be getting a bat, which would be a 2-for-1. That'd be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? But if we were going to get Shohei, we'd have to then trade everybody else for something cheaper, so I don't know. We could go for Shohei if we absolutely wanted to. I just don't know if I want to. We're not going to trade Bieber right now. We'll wait a little bit until the offseason starts, free agency starts, just to kind of see. So there's the tenant contracts. There's the arbitration. See, we got a lot of guys that we got to bring back, and they're going to be pretty expensive, so we might not have much money to even go into free agency. But here we are. Alcantara makes it to free agency. Obviously, our two guys are here, but we're looking to bring those guys back. So we've got Lou Bob, who's got a 7-year, $247 million deal from the White Sox. That's going to be pretty much impossible to go after, I think. Any other starting pitcher that I would want? Probably not. Justin Steele had a good year the year prior, but not a good year this year. I think it's probably Pablo Lopez just came off a World Series. Probably not starting pitcher. Bullpen, no. Closer and pitcher. I'd probably only be after Alexis Diaz. If we could add him to the bullpen, that could be pretty fun. I'm always looking for bullpen help. You guys know that. Always looking for bullpen help. And then if we sign Alexis Diaz, we can trade Felix Bautista. Now, Alexis Diaz's contract is going to be a little bit more expensive than Felix Bautista. Maybe it won't be. It'll be a little bit more expensive. We get him 9.5. We could offer that. He likes that a lot more. Alexis Diaz's contract is probably going to be a little bit more expensive than Felix Bautista's. Certainly more expensive than Felix's, but we could trade that contract once he signs it and maybe get a little bit cheaper. Obviously, we're going after Adley. First base, second base, no. Third base. Nolan Arenado's a little bit too old at this point. There's no way Nolan Arenado's getting any big contract at 30. What is he, 36? Yeah, 36. Jeremy Pena, Geraldo Perdomo, Byron Buxton. This free agency class isn't amazing. There's a couple guys at the top like Lou Bob and Rushman and Alcantara, but we don't really have the money right now to make those moves happen. The only move we have is Alexis Diaz. So I'm probably going to go in and tender all these contracts, and then I'm going to go and offer arbitration for all these guys. We'll get through all that, and then I'll come back to you when we have all that done, and then we can start talking maybe moving some of these big money deals like Bieber, like Freddie Peralta, like Steven Kwan, like Willy Adames even. We can start maybe shifting certainly Adolis Garcia. We can start shifting some of this money around to different teams and maybe get a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to go do this stuff, and then I'll catch you guys when I got that done. Okay, so I've gotten all that done. We just offered arbitration to everybody. We've tendered all the contracts, and we have a lot of pending offers. $104 million in total pending offers. Yeah, that's very, very not good. But we're going to simulate a little bit and see what happens. We can no longer afford the contract of Alexis Diaz because I'm assuming Felix Bautista accepted his. No, he didn't. It was Adley Rutschman who accepted. Okay, so because Adley Rutschman has accepted his contract, which is a massive extension, that means we can no longer offer on Felix Bautista, on Alexis Diaz, but we still have the firepower to make some different moves. So Shane Bieber is going to get got. But by who? Who's Shane Bieber going to move to? Dylan Cease's contract's a little too expensive. Who do we go to? Drew Rasmussen, maybe? I mean, he had a decent year. I never had him on any of my teams before. Yuri Perez could be solid. We've had that experiment before, but maybe it's a different time. I don't know. Can't go Shohei. That's too obvious at this point. Or too expensive at this point. That'd be stupid. Grayson Rodriguez, Scooble. McClanahan can't be traded just yet. I don't know what direction we need to go in here. I'm kind of feeling a little Drew Rasmussen, but it's just such a big drop-off. Like 95 overall to 87. That's a pretty big drop-off. And if we go for Yuri Perez, we'd have to offer him arbitration. It can't be that expensive, can it? I don't know. We've had Yuri Perez in the past, and last year on... What team were we last year? The Royals? Did we have him on the Royals? I know we had the Yuri Perez experiment happen before, and he wasn't very good, but it looks like he might be turning the corner. Maybe we give Yuri Perez a second chance. Second chance at glory. And I would consider moving Trevor Rogers as well, especially if we're going to bring in Felix Bautista. I would consider Trevor Rogers. So maybe we do that, unless there's somebody else that's expensive down the way. No, not really. I would do this. Bieber and Trevor Rogers for Yuri Perez. We send Shane Bieber to Miami to go retire in Miami, I guess. And we get a much cheaper contract with arbitration. Then we can do Freddie Peralta. We can send him to a new team. Who do we send him to? I don't know. We could get Andrew Painter, but Andrew Painter had a really bad year. But he's super cheap with a renewal contract. He wouldn't be that expensive at all. We could try to get Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller had a bad year. Just trying to get cheaper, but still have good quality, which is a pretty tough combo to try to match. It's a pretty tough combo to try to get. And we do have some young guys down here, like Jacob Mizrowski's probably getting close to getting ready to get called up, I would think. Who do we go with? I'm kind of feeling like we should go with Andrew Painter. I feel like that's a pretty solid option. We get younger, and we also get cheaper because his renew contract is not going to be, I wouldn't think, that expensive. Maybe it is. I have no idea. But we can toss some of these bums that we have who aren't going to do anything. We can toss some of those guys, and we bring in another starting pitcher to add to the team in Andrew Painter. So we'll just have to renew those two contracts. But that's already cheapening up a little bit. Obviously, we got Adley. Let's see. Adamez's contract can get freed up. But for who is a good question. Miyuki? Willie Adamez, we brought him back after we let him go when we initially traded every Milwaukee Brewer player at the beginning of the series. But we brought him back, and he's been pretty good. We could maybe go for Anthony Volpe. Has he had a good year? He's had an okay season for the Yankees. Okay career so far. Nothing too special, but he is young. He's got arbitration. O'Neal Cruz is pretty good, but he's a little bit older. Bobby Witt's expensive. Marcelo Mayer didn't have a great year. There's De La Cruz. We can't get De La Cruz. We just had De La Cruz in the Padres, so I'm not going to get even though I love De La Cruz, one of my favorite players, I'm not going to get him twice. And we also had him in the Blue Jays series before that series ended, so that would be all three of the series we had De La Cruz. So I'll go for somebody different. Tommy Troy. Who's this? I don't know. Brooks Lee. Mookie. I don't really know where I'm feeling. I guess we could go... we could go Jackson Holiday, maybe. He doesn't really have that kind of power. Or Junior Caminero. I don't know who this guy is, but he seems to... How is Gunnar Henderson and... I thought we were on the Orioles. How is Jackson Holiday and Gunnar Henderson here at the same time? What? They both are on Tampa Bay. That's kind of... I didn't even register we were on the Rays until I saw Junior Caminero wearing an Rays hat. That's kind of crazy. Is he got power? He's got a little bit of power. Does he have more power than Adamez? Not really. He's 24. He's got decent contact. Not a lot of speed. 85 overall already. I don't know. Maybe we go Junior Caminero. I'm intrigued by him. Very, very intrigued by him. It's probably him or it's Anthony Volpe. Those are probably the two guys we go for. And I think it might be Volpe. Or Volpe. I think it's Volpe, is it not? I don't remember. Who cares? And I might give you Patrick Romeri. Or Romery. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know how to say names. So we send Adames to the Yankees. We get Anthony Volpe back. Stephen Kwan is a tradable contract, but we can't do that until the 15th. Churio, Riley Green. We got to get rid of Adolis Garcia. We don't need a right fielder because we have Rhys Hines and we have Lazaro Montes, so we don't need to replace right field with him. We could get maybe I would love to get Royce Lewis. I've been talking about it since this series started. But even with Adolis Garcia, Royce Lewis is just such a good player that we can't get him. He's just such a good player. But Adolis Garcia might be able to get us an extra third baseman. Maybe. Somebody that's cheaper. Although all the third basemen are not super cheap, are they? There's Royce Lewis again. Yeah, third basemen are not cheap. Not cheap at all. We don't need first base. We don't need second base. We don't need shortstop anymore. Technically don't need left field. We don't need center field. We don't need right field because we got Kyle Tucker and Rhys Hines. So we're good on that. Third base is really the only one we need. I mean, we don't really need it because we have Kobe Mayo. We have Cam Collier. I guess we could use another bullpen guy. Maybe we go for a bullpen arm. There's Brusdar Gratterall. 47 saves last year for the Yankees. Joe Barlow, Steven. There's got to be somebody out here. Somebody out here that makes me happy. I mean, we could try to get Trevor Rogers back. Because I didn't really want to trade him, but to get the deal done for Yuri Perez, it had to happen. What about Roansy Contreras? Did he have a good year? He had a pretty good year, and he's on arbitration. I wouldn't hate that. And then that also means we can maybe snag somebody else. Maybe like a Rob Mills at catcher. Or they got Jose Altuve now? Okay. We can't get Tamar Johnson. Their prospect pool is not as good as I was hoping it would be. They got Bubba Chandler, though. Can I snag a Bubba Chandler? Maybe if I toss in somebody else. Toss in him. Toss in him. Okay, so we can get Bubba Chandler if we give up Hal Lewis. Roansy Contreras, bullpen arm, along with Bubba Chandler to us for the Pirates getting Adolis Garcia. He goes and starts at right field for them. All right, there we go. That's a lot of money freed up now. There's a lot of money freed up, and we still have the contract of Stephen Kwan that we can move, and Christopher Morel when he ever accepts his tendered contract or whatever he needs to do, or his arbitration. But we need to offer arbitration to Yuri Perez, so we got that offered, and Volpe needs to get offered arbitration. All right, so that has freed up some good money. Oh, and Contreras needs arbitration as well. All right, so everybody else has been offered arbitration. The contracts need to be tendered. We need to renew the contract. We need to renew the contract of Andrew Painter. We need to offer a contract to Bubba Chandler. And that should be everybody there. Okay, so $61 million in pending offers, which is less than the available money we have now after we freed up all that and got younger. And we still have the contract to Stephen Kwan. We can trade it in the next season at the deadline. So that's nice. So we're a lot cheaper now, or a lot less expensive. And that means we can now go after Alexis Diaz again and make a bid for him. If we give him 10 mil, that's not too bad. We should be able to afford that. All right, so hopefully Alexis Diaz accepts that. I don't think there's anybody else. Yeah, third base, we'd rather just stay with Christopher Morel, and then whoever else we have. So let's keep simulating a little bit. Sandy Alcantara signs a 6-year deal with the Royals. Okay. A lot of the tender contracts have been accepted. Perfect. Arbitration obviously hasn't been accepted just yet. Let's keep moving on a little bit further. Oh, we're deep into the month, and we haven't got anything yet. So all of our tender contracts are done. Free agency is still up in the air. Alexis Diaz is getting offers from other teams, but he should accept ours. I mean, we have one more year and $10 more million than the Royals. Hopefully he accepts ours. And I don't think we'd go after anybody else. So we'll see what happens. And Alexis Diaz has accepted the Royals deal. Oh, I really just said he was gonna accept ours, and he doesn't accept ours. That's kind of tough. Perez will go into the pitching, so will Painter. We're still gonna get rid of Felix Bautista. Just now, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be. What's his face? Why am I blanking on his name? Alexis Diaz. It's not going to be Alexis Diaz anymore, who fills that spot. So that's our new 1 through 5 in the rotation. Yuri Perez, Hunter Green, Hunter Brown, Paul Skeens, and Andrew Painter. That'll be our new 1 through 5. And the lineup will now include Rushman as always, Volpe at shortstop. Hines will not play third base. He'll play the bench. And Morel will play third base. And then this should be what? Right field? No, DH. He can play DH. Reese Hines can play DH. Frelick will start at left field. Is this DH again? Where is... Oh, he's on the... That's right. So Hines will go to the bench for Morel. Rushman will be the catcher, obviously. And then shortstop is Volpe. And then DH is Reese Hines. Okay, so that's the way the team looks right now. Will it change? Will it stay the same? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. With those changes being made to the lineup and the pitching rotation, we can now move further into this off-season period. We have already done everything we need to do here. And now with Alexis Diaz signing a deal with the Royals instead of us, I mean, it opens up a lot of money that would have went to Alexis Diaz that now is just here. I mean, obviously we have to pay our arbitration deals, which is going to be a hefty chunk of money. As you can see, it's going to be $56 million in money. So in reality, we have like $23, $24 million. We don't have much. But it is enough to maybe offer one person a contract or maybe a couple people smaller contracts if we need to. We don't have to. I'm not going to try to force it just to spend the money. I'm not going to spend the money just to spend the money. But if there's a guy that I feel like fits this team, whether it's in the lineup, on the bench, or in the rotation, then I'm certainly going to at least give it a consideration. So I guess we'll find out. But as we move a little bit forward here, we have an interesting offer. Look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about. The Padres are offering me a trade. They want to give me Adrian Sanchez and Woo-Suk Go, who we are familiar with from our Padres rebuild that we're doing currently on the channel as well. We got rid of him a couple years ago, and it looks like they've moved him to closing pitcher and have finally called him up for his rookie year. He was playing for us like within the first year or two of Padres franchise. I don't know why they haven't called him up and why they moved him to closing pitcher in the first place, but he's 29 and he's not that good. We tried him out in that franchise and he wasn't that good. They're also giving me a young prospect in Adrian Sanchez, who is fine. He doesn't look bad. He doesn't look good. He's just kind of okay. But they also want Garrett Crochet, who is our best relief pitcher out of the bullpen. Had a really, really good good year this year and had a really, really good postseason as well. So I'm just going to straight up say no to that. I was always going to say no to that, but the fact that it was Garrett Crochet that they were asking for, that was actually going to be a hard no. So I don't know why they would think that offer was going to get them Garrett Crochet. But they tried it. Got to respect them for trying it. And now we move to get the 40-man roster all figured out. We got to make sure that the people on the 40-man are the people that we want to make sure don't get grabbed by the Rule 5 draft. Bubba Chandler's certainly a guy that I don't want to get grabbed in the Rule 5, so he'll be on the 40-man. Sergio Zamora, don't want to get grabbed, so he's going to be on the 40-man. And everybody else, honestly, in Double A could probably. I mean, Ben Vale or Valet, he could be useful. I mean, maybe if we have any more room, maybe I'll put him on here. But I got to check the AAA roster first. So all the important guys at the top are on there. Geronimo Camacho, who is I think one of the new guys that we just brought in, right? I think he's one of the new guys we traded for. Because I don't recognize that name otherwise. He is not on the 40-man. Neither is the closing pitcher prospect Louis Dell. Okay. Currently, we still have a couple spots open on the 40-man, so we can make some moves if we need to. Javier Samuel's on there. Shane Daly won't get grabbed, I doubt it, because there's no way an MLB team's going to put a 64 overall relief pitching prospect on their major league roster. So there's no way he gets grabbed. But Louis Dell, I could certainly see getting taken. Same kind of deal with Camacho. I'm going to put both of them on there if I can. So we add in Camacho, and if I can add him, okay, so that was the 40th man right there was Camacho. Does Louis Dell get grabbed? He's a 74 overall. I doubt it. I doubt that he actually gets put onto... He gets taken in the Rule 5 draft, but there's a little bit of me that thinks he might. So who's on this 40-man that I don't need? It always comes back to Andrew Monasterio, doesn't it? It always comes back to him. We've already called up Kobe Mayo, and he's probably going to make the Major League roster for next year as well. Does Andrew Monasterio make the big league club? He's 30 years old already, so I don't know why we would keep him down. He's a good utility bat. He's got good contact. He's got good vision and discipline. His clutch is okay. He just doesn't have a lot of pop, but that's not too bad. I think Monasterio will make the team next year. That's at least my initial thought. Who knows what I'm thinking when we actually get to the next episode. I think I'm going to keep Louis Dell off the 40-man. Now I'm rethinking myself. I think Camacho's good. Obviously, we want to put Bubba Chandler on there because he certainly would get grabbed. 25-year-old, 78 overall prospect with A potential. He would get grabbed in a heartbeat. I feel like Zamora would get grabbed as well. Do I think that Louis Dell gets taken? I don't think a team in Major League Baseball would want a 74 overall prospect closing pitcher on their Major League club because they would have to keep him on the Major League roster the whole year or he'd come back to us. So do I think somebody would risk taking him, or do I want to keep him and just lock him up? This is the trickiest decision we got to make so far. The obvious choice is to move Javier Samuel, because I doubt anybody takes Javier Samuel. He's 67 overall. There's no way you're starting a 67 overall pitcher in Major League Baseball. So I think we remove him from the 40-man roster. He passes through irrevocable waivers. I hope nobody grabs him in waivers, but I think it frees up an important position for Louis Dell, because I do think out of any of the guys there, I think that they would take Dell over Samuel. So hopefully he doesn't get grabbed in waivers, and the Athletics claim Javier Samuel off of waivers. Okay, so the A's have taken Samuel from us through waivers. That's very annoying. It's not the end of the world. It just kind of lessens our starting pitcher depth a little bit. We still have Mizorowski, who might even make the big league team this year. We still have Bubba Chandler, who we just got. We have Robert Ramirez, who I like. We have Connor Hills, who I like. And that's about it. Javier Samuel was one of the other young prospects that we just added, I think, that I was intrigued by. And it's not like the end of the world. We could go get him again if I absolutely want to. If I go to the A's, wherever they are, and we go to starting pitchers, we could go down here. He's not going to be that valuable. He's a 67 overall prospect, so we could go and get him if I toss in a couple of scrubs. I don't know who the scrubs would be. Maybe some of the guys that we've drafted in the past, because I've certainly drafted some scrubs, that's for sure. Maybe I toss in this 43-year overall Allen Williamson, catcher. Actually, you know what? It'd probably be better to toss the 29-year-old. And then we toss in like a relief pitcher who's 30. And maybe another relief pitcher who's 30 because we have a bunch of those. And they're saying yes to that. So Javier Samuel, welcome back to the team. But now that frees up that makes the problem of now he's on the 40-man roster. So we'll have to figure that out too. But at least he's back. At least he's back on the team. So now we have 41 on the 40-man. Oh, yeah, that's right, because it's the problem that we faced earlier. So now we know that Javier Samuel would get grabbed off of waivers. I'm actually just going to put him down in AAA, where he was going to be originally. So I can't put him down on AAA. I wonder if Zamora would get taken in waivers. I'm going to put Zamora in waivers, and we're going to find out if he gets taken. Jordan Hicks signed a deal with the Royals. Josh Hader with the Mariners. And it looks like Justin Steele signs with the Reds. It looks like Zamora makes it through waivers. Yes, Zamora is still here, and he's no longer on the 40-man roster. Perfect. So we made that work. We traded away a couple of bums to get Javier Samuel back, and it all works out. All players must have their contracts tendered. I think I've tendered all the contracts. Yeah, no players have contracts tendered left. We've offered every single person arbitration, so we just have to wait on that. Free agency's kind of wrapping up here. Byron Buxton is 34 years old without a team. He's coming off of a World Series with the Twins. Looks like this Twins team's kind of falling apart because didn't we see the other Twins pitcher, or the one of the Twins pitchers? I think was it Pablo Lopez, or was it was one of the Twins pitchers that was in free agency. Maybe they're still here. No, they must have got taken if they were going to get taken. I don't remember. I think the Twins might be falling apart after their victory. Who knows? But let's keep moving. We've gotten all that stuff done. Brian Abreu traded from the Astros to the Rays. Brian Abreu always gets traded, doesn't he? He goes to the Rays for Christian Yelich, who I don't know how the Rays got him, but they had him, and now he's in the Astros. And then Taylor Dollard is another pitcher. So no really young prospects. That's probably just like making the money match. Although Christian Yelich is a fat contract. I mean, I don't know now. Maybe he doesn't have because we're like 5 years deep now. So maybe he doesn't have that same contract. Verdugo signs with the Reds. That's a cool deal. We get to the winter meetings, and now is the draft lottery. Obviously, we are not going to have that good of an odds. We have the 29th pick because we were in the World Series last year. That's pretty obvious. But we aren't looking for a draft at this point because, like I've mentioned this whole video, this is probably going to be the final season. It looks like the Nationals are the number one pick. The Pirates jumped up 15 spots to get the number 2 pick. They had 0.40% chance to get the number 1 pick, and they got number 2. That's kind of wild. Who dropped the farthest? It looks like everybody dropped at least 2. The White Sox dropped 1, but everybody else dropped at least 2. Kind of crazy. Some big movement in the draft. Pirates might be getting a good prospect if there's a good class. Logan Gilbert goes to the Twins, so they're trying to get their team back together. The Rays are spending a little bit of money. They go for Casey Mize now. Gleyber Torres, a glue bomb, heading to the Giants from the Royals for a couple of old players. Okay, and now it's time for the Rule 5 draft. And Dre Jameson actually got picked up in the Rule 5 draft, who I think we played against in the Padres series. He hasn't played Major League Baseball since 2023, which I think is the first year that we started the series. Or is it 2024? I don't even know. It might be 2024 we started the series. But none of our guys got taken, which is perfect. And yeah, we're good to go here. So we made that work. And we can basically... another trade. Jojo Romero heading from the Phillies to the Rangers for 2 older guys, Toglia, Cawley, and then a youngster in Bryant Rosa. Okay, so the Rangers might see something, or the whoever the other team was, might see something. Another trade. This is the most trades we've had in a while. The Red Sox are getting Nico Horner from the Tigers for Ryan Mountcastle and Miguel Blaise. I don't know. But basically, all we have to do is get to arbitration at this point. Tigers sign Seiya Suzuki, 33-year-old, still an 85 overall. We'll see how he progresses or degresses, I guess. Bryson Stott signs with the Twins, so the Twins are spending some money as well. But we are getting ever so close to the arbitration. Byron Buxton signs a 1-year deal with the Orioles, and now here is arbitration day. So the panel has sided with Gregory Santos, no surprise. The panel sided with Christopher Morel. The panel has sided with Riley Green. The panel has sided with Kyle Harrison. The panel has sided with Tristan Casas, with Yuri Perez, with Sal Frelick, with us for Andrew Monasterio, with Contreras, and then finally with Volpe, with Hunter Brown, with Abner Uribe, and probably last one is Jefferson Cuero. No, there's one more, Paul Skeens. Okay, so the panel sided with everybody, with each player except for one, which was Andrew Monasterio, which isn't that big of a shock, actually. But that's okay, because we had the funds to do it. So after arbitration has been settled and everybody's under contract, we are left with $29.42 million in room to make any moves if we need to. And we're still looking to free up the Stephen Kwan contract, which is $14 million. So that's all possible. What do we do with Jackson Chourio? Because Jackson Chourio is getting paid like a starting player, but he's on the bench. So what do we do with Jackson Chourio? Do we move Riley Green to start Jackson Chourio? Like, I don't know what we do there. We've got some interesting things. Obviously, I still want to move Felix Bautista. I just don't know who we move him for. Everybody should be under contract now, so if I was going to make a Felix Bautista move, it has to be the deadline, that's right. I was going to say, if I'm going to make a Felix Bautista move, who am I going to make it for? It's probably going to be for a closing pitcher that we can just use in the bullpen like we've been using Bautista. We could always go for Alexis Diaz. It'd have to be a deadline for deadline deal. Johan Duran, he's a deadline move. Josh Hader's a deadline move. I've never had Andres Munoz before. He's starting to regress a little bit. He's also a deadline move. So none of these trades are going to happen right now, obviously. I wouldn't go for Edwin Diaz. He's very old at this point. We just got Jose Alvarado in the Padres series. I'm leaning towards Andres Munoz. I've never had him in any series I've done. He just recently got here to Atlanta after getting moved around a couple of different times and then back to Seattle. Now he's back here, and now he's in Atlanta for last year, and for this year, possibly. But we can make a move at the deadline for him. We can certainly handle his contract because it would be a little bit half of Felix's, so that we wouldn't really be eating that much money. I wouldn't be mad at that. Then we could have like a 1-2 punch of Munoz and Devin Williams as our closer. It would probably be Devin Williams at the start to be the closer, I feel like, because he was our closer last year and he did a fine job, so I feel like Devin would just stay as the closer. But that would give us another really, hopefully, trusty bullpen arm. He seems to has had a pretty good season, a couple seasons so far. So I like that. That's probably going to be one of the deadline moves that we make. I don't think there's going to be any other ones, at least right now. Maybe I change my mind once we get into actual play and we see how these guys are playing through the first half of the year. But as of right now, on paper, headed into the fifth year, I like the way the team looks. We've got a nice mix of righties and lefties. We've got some nice pop in the middle of the order with Kyle Tucker and Tristan Casas. We've got a nice leadoff guy with juice. We've got who also has some pop to his bat. We've got a nice number 9 guy who's a phenomenal hitter in his own right, Adley Rutschman. Then we got some nice role guys. We got some contact guys. We got some speedy guys. Not anybody super fast, but that's what the bench is for. We got Chourio on the bench. So I feel like we're a decent team. We've obviously been to the World Series 2 years in a row, so I mean that's pretty fair to say that we're a decent team, but I like our rotation as well. It is righty heavy. I didn't realize that. It is all righties, so that is a little bit of inconvenience for us, but at the end of the day, it's a video game, so it shouldn't matter that much. It still will matter because obviously some players hit better against righties than they do lefties. We should be able to handle ourselves okay. We have some lefties in the bullpen as well with Garrett Crochet, who can be a starter if he needs to, and Kyle Harrison obviously is a starter as well. So we have a couple of starters that we can make that swap if it becomes too much of an issue with all righties in the bullpen. I didn't realize we had all righties when I made the trades for Painter and Perez. But I like the team. I think the team has a lot of potential. We got some new faces. But I think we are ready to go for our third straight World Series appearance. Let's simulate the rest of this and get to spring training. There we go. Spring training is upon us. I will get the roster fully set out for the year 5, and then in the next episode we will start what could be the final year of Bolt's franchise. It's been a good ride. We've won a World Series. We played another one. It's been fun. So get ready for that. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, though. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.